guys doing? Mentioned in my first video about pulling legend Dave Stangle and solid junk that there may be a possibility of a second video. The first one was very well received, and I had some requests for doing a second one. I wasn't sure exactly how much new material I had, but after looking over some of my stash, probably had enough material to warrant a second video. So here goes. For those of you who may have missed the first video, let me just explain that solid junk was a Minneapolis Moline G1000 propane tractor that was found in a junkyard in Missouri that had been in a fire. And mechanical wizard Ron Perry from Indiana took it back to his shop, and like Dr. Frankenstein working on his monster, he built a pulling tractor called Solid Junk, and it was campaigned by Dave Stangle, a very colorful character, very talented driver, who had a very successful pulling career with the tractor known as Solid Junk. For this video, we're going to focus a little bit more on some of his competition, show a few more of the tractors pulling in the same class with him. And there was a lot of interesting tractors back in those days. The modifieds were just as interesting as the super stocks. Back then, everybody trying their own ideas out. So we'll show a bit of that. What made Dave and Solid Junk such a fan favorite? I mean, yes, they were very competitive. They were hard to beat. They were at the top of their class. But they were also very, very popular. Dave had a great personality, was great with people. And I think people in stands could identify with them. Because here's a tractor, an old, rusty, dirty tractor, with Dave Stangle sitting on a seat that didn't have any cushion, just had the springs. And people could identify with that. Most of the people coming to these pulls are not high dollar rich folks. They might have been difficult for them to scrape together a couple dollars and go to this pull. And you see somebody out there, a kindred spirit, running a tractor that's not all painted up and pretty, looks like there's $1 million in it. He was the guy you would root for. You identified with him, and it's much like the deer power tractors in our region, East Coast. They were very let's say cosmetically challenged tractors. They didn't really worry about what they looked like, but they were crowd favorites. People knew that they didn't put much money in them. And here, look at this. In this Puller magazine, there was a letter somebody had wrote complaining about how it seems like the NTPA is all worried about professionalism amongst the pullers, and wanting the tractors and the pullers to look more professional, when that's not what the people with their rear ends in the stands might want. Here, look at this letter. It says that it mentions Dave Stangle and the deer power tractors from Boonesboro, who they are not all pretty and painted up and professional looking, and the pullers themselves are not wearing uniforms with their, having to track their pit crews all dressed in matching stuff and everything, clean as a pin and all of these. These are just real guys, and people love that. And they lament the fact that tractor pulling may become too professional and people be too cleaned up and spiffed up, and it has happened, and it has lost much of its attraction. I know there are still, and I give them a lot of credit, some guys who are doing things a little different, and they're doing well, but they're still spending an unreal amount of money, even if they're using their own ideas and come up with their own stuff. Like I say, I got to hand it to them, but the amount of money that's being spent, I mean, even if you can win a good portion of it back, it's just unreal. It's just doesn't seem right in some way to me. You have to put me in the camp that says, wish we could go back the way it was. Everybody just trying whatever they think would work, and not having these shops that have everything figured out, and you just got to go plunk down a bunch of money and go out there and win some pulls. It's not good that it's come to that. But yet that's where it is. At least we have this history we can look at and enjoy and relive, and it's look at these colorful characters from back in the day, and think of how great it was. And that, like I say, at least we can get these restored tractors back out there and put on a show that makes it good. But anyway, these are some of the older videos that were taken on 8mm film by Bob Landis of Pennsylvania, and subsequently he had put them on DVD and was making them available to interested parties. A number of years ago I acquired a few of them. And oh good, this is the Banner Brothers. They're twin side-by-side machine here. I don't know if it's just called Orange. That Dave Stangle's Solid Junk. This is a little bit older version of it from our other video. We see it's the tank, the propane tank is still under the hood, not out front, and it had a carburetor down low, the turbo blowing in through the carburetor, and not quite as many lines going up there. I guess there are probably the same amount of lines, but it was set up a little bit different. Okay, this is a little bit more updated version of it. You can see it's he doesn't have the tank in the back part of the hood area anymore. If you look, he's running a different part of the back. See the front, the tank is on the front there in this version, and he's got a different hood on it, which is completely rust. And if you'll notice, he doesn't have that big carburetor down there, way down low. The big LP gas carburetor. He's got some kind of, looks like he's just got some butterflies in the piping here. How he's regulating the LP gas going in, I don't know. But this was the 1977 version, I believe. Yeah, 77. Yep. And here we see the 1978 version, where he had twin turbos up on top of the hood in that nice big rusty metal box. And he had to put the side shields on and everything. Some side shielding on both sides of the engine there. This is at Purdue University. He won the 12. Here he is at another pull. Can't remember which one it is. Kankakee, Illinois, I don't know. But he looks like he's really turning the tires there. And he ended up winning this class also. I think I got some of the results up there. But I assume he still had plenty to do with his throttle hand. Hitting switches and stuff as he was going up the track. Yeah, here we see the results. The 12 Super Stock. He got to pull off, and ended up winning over Don Walter with his 1066 and Norm Green. I think Norm had some issues with a clutch. Alright, here's some videos that were taken at Kinzers, Pennsylvania. The gentleman taking these old 8mm home movie type films. He had certain tractors he'd like to get video of, and the Deer Power tractors were a pair of them. And he also liked to get video of the Green Monster from Art Arfons. Look how narrow that thing was. It was amazing how narrow he had that. And this is another turbine, Bob Busey or Bussey, I don't know, never did know quite how to pronounce it. His turbine always had some issues with going straight. Ron Barge's judge, he always seemed to like to get video of that. This I don't know if this is McRae or from up farther. That was an Allison one. This one is John Shaw's Longhorn tractor. I always thought it was a really neat tractor. Two big blocks with twin turbos on there, and he ran really well against the some of the higher money guys, but it was really performed well. I'm not sure if that's Norm Green. Some of you fellows will know, and you can leave in the comments which Alice that is. This is the pullback tractor that they had up at Kinzers. Obviously that's a repowered 4520. I think this pull was in 75, maybe 76, something like that. Not exactly sure. There we go. This is a good shot of Leonard Thomas. We got a couple of tractors in the background. One was Kay's Delight by Eddie Horman, and yeah, here's Leonard coming up the track. It's good to have some videos of Leonard. I seem to have more videos of Donnie going up the track on Deer Power 1. This is Deer Power 2. Had a decent pull. I guess it's a 12,000 pound class. I am not absolutely certain who this is, but I'm guessing maybe it's Tom Bedgar. But don't quote me on that. I ain't absolutely sure. This is Kay's Delight 1466. I think that's Ed Horman running it himself. There's no sound on these. This was before the guy that was filming, Bob Landis, thank heaven he did film it before he had sound capability on his recording stuff. This is Bob Williams from Ohio on his D21. He had some kind of issue there. Harry Graced. Got Harry Graced coming up the track. He used to take that tractor and farm with it in the spring and fall. In summer he'd make a bunch of changes and go pulling. He did really well with the one turbo one before he went with the twin turbo setup. It's one of Stauffer's Deutzes. I don't know which one that is. Can't make out if it's got written on it. Here he is, Dave Stangle on solid junk. Yeah, this was the older setup. He still had the big carburetor on the side, as you can see way down low. Running good, going up the track. Turning the tires. Seemed to be going way farther than most of them. Went past the trees. Here we go. Andy Main on his 1370 case. Heading up the track. He used to run pretty good. He used to run pretty fair. Didn't go quite as far as Dave, but oh, this is Don Barry, old number one from Missouri. He didn't get it going there, unfortunately. All right, we're going to go back to Buck here, and I don't know who's in it. Kolb, I think, is the name on it. And this thing here, I've never seen it before or since. It's a mini mow, but unusual looking thing. Here's Dave Stangle's solid junk. Like I say, this is the older version, 76 version of it. Pull it up at buck, and you can see once again the differences that are there. This tractor, I have no idea who it is. Never seen it before. Some of you guys might know. You can leave a comment there. Andy Main's tractor, he thought it was pretty neat. He used PVC pipe, looks like to me, PVC pipe to run down to his intercooler and back up to the turbo. Seemed to work alright. There's Donnie's Deer Power 1 4020. There's this picture of his engine. Alright, here's the 1370 of Andy Main again. Looked like I don't know if he had it in the wrong gear or his clutch didn't really hook up, but he's bobbling a little bit there. So I don't know if his clutch was slipping a little bit, or and he didn't get up there as far as he might sometimes. Alright, this I don't know if this is Norm Green's tractor with some of you fellows can correct me on some of these. I'm just off top of my head seeing if I can come up with the names. I'm sure some of you fellows who know a little bit better than me. Harry Greist again. Like I say, he runs really well with just that one big turbo on there. And heading on up the track, putting out the smoke. Red Power 1456. Look like he beat the D21. Alright, this is Harold McQueen. I don't think we got his whole run on this. Nope. Nope, didn't get it. Here's Donnie Thomas on Deer Power 1. Heading up the track. Running 24.532s. It'd be curious to see how much better it would pull if the front end was lower. I think that means a little bit or something. Alright, it's Tom, I think it's Tom Wright, I believe. Let's see who this is on his, I don't know, was it 1066 or 1466? He had a good run, obviously. On the right-hand power is what they used to call them. With the twin turbo setup, they didn't come up with the triple turbo setup yet on them. You can see behind Dave is John Lancaster's tractor back there. There's Dave coming up the track. This is, I think, the 9 Super. He didn't do quite as well in the 9 as he did in the 12. I don't know if he had too much horsepower or just too much to get hooked up. And here's this crazy looking Moline, odd looking thing. He doesn't make much of a pull, but thought you'd find it interesting to see it. This is some footage with sound, obviously, of, I guess it was the Spring Nationals at Buck in 1977. This is a 12,000 pound class. He started filming on this side of the track. He didn't get all of them. He gets a few of them. There's John Lancaster coming up with his 210. First we saw Danny Dean, then maybe Norm Green. I think that's Danny Dean's checkered flag there. I don't know, about 275 feet. And then, filmed from the other side of the track, we see Dave Stangle coming up the track with solid jump, pulling out the end with ease. And we see Donnie Thomas coming up there. This is all he filmed of that class, unfortunately. It would have been a heck of a good class to film the whole thing. I don't know how it came. I know Dave won, obviously, but Okay. A couple years later, we had some sound. This is Dan Walsh. He had too wild of a ride here. Only got doing the huckabuck there for some reason. The Shane. Okay. Now we see him coming up, I guess, in the 9,000 pound class. Big buck. Too rich or what? Didn't work. And here's Dave running 9. He never could get hooked up sometimes in the 9. We do have sound on these. Okay. Thought it was neat the light show we put on at the end of his run. Yep, impressive.